Buenos días or buenas tardes, Year 7. I hope you're all well. Welcome to our third and final Spanish class of the week. So please write the title, Tienes animales, y subrayar con una regla, underline with a ruler. Write the date in Spanish also, y subrayar con una regla, underline with a ruler. So our lesson aims for the week. We've understood vocabulary about pets and colours. We've looked at plural and adjectival agreement, and today, in today's class, we're going to apply all of that learning by writing a paragraph, and we'll evaluate and set some targets on how we can improve further. So, empezamos. Your starter task. I would like you to translate the following. So there are 5, some are Spanish to English, which is a bit easier, and a couple are English to Spanish. There is also an extension task. Please do give that a try. And allow yourself about 3 or 4 minutes. So pause this video whilst you do that. Muy bien. Let's see how you got on with that. So our translations are, number 1, un perro rojo, a red dog. Number 2, una serpiente amarilla. Remember, it's amarilla, not amarillo, because serpiente is una, it's feminine. That's a yellow snake. We have also un periquito bonito, a beautiful budgie. And again, we agree the bonito is bonito, not bonita, because un periquito is masculine and not feminine. Number 4, a blue rabbit, un conejo azul. And number 5, a golden tortoise is una tortuga dorada. So careful, hopefully you got dorada and not dorado, because tortuga is feminine. So dorada needs to agree with the noun, with the feminine noun. Muy bien. So lots going on in colours and nouns, I know that. Give yourself a mark out of 5 for those, and also hopefully you attempted the extension task. So how do you say, in my house I have an ugly pink bird and a small beautiful and green fish, a small beautiful and green fish. And in Spanish, that is, en mi casa, in my house, I have un pájaro feo y rosa. I have an ugly pink bird. Y también, and also, un pez pequeño, bonito y verde. So if you recall what I was saying in lesson 2, in Spanish, unlike in English, you say the noun and then you give a descriptor of the size, we might say the state, and then the colour comes last. Okay, unlike in English, where we do say the size first and then describe and then the colour, but the noun comes at the end. It's the other way around in Spanish. So it is quite challenging for us to do that. Hopefully you might have got some of that right. Like I say, it is quite challenging. So today's class, I want to just bring together a grammar reminder on plurals and how you agree plurals of animals and the colours, and it is quite complicated. We'll practice with a writing task, and finally we'll have our picnic. So grammar rules on colours. Now you will remember in our last class we changed the colour. If it ended in an O or an A, it had to agree with the noun. So if it was a masculine noun, it would be, the colour would end in O. So let's take the example of yellow, amarillo. But if it was feminine, it would end in amarillo. It would change to amarilla. So we would have un conejo amarillo, a yellow rabbit, or una tortuga amarilla, because tortoise is feminine. Now, just to make that a little bit more challenging, you also need to change colour adjectives to agree with singular or plural nouns. Now, we don't do this in English, so it does make it difficult for us to understand, but that is what we have to do in Spanish. So if we are saying a red cat, if we are saying 2 red cats, we don't change the red. The red stays as it is, whether we're talking about 1 or 10 or 20, but in Spanish it does change, and you can see in that table there how it changes. So for singular of masculine and feminine, amarillo or amarilla, in the plural it would change to amarillos and amarillas. Verde changes to verdes, azul changes to azules. Do you remember also, a rosa and naranja, they didn't change, did they? But they do in the plural. We have to add an S on both of those if we are talking about more than one animal. So please pause this video and make a really good and accurate note of that. And it's probably quite confusing at the moment, but it will become much clearer when we go on and do some examples. Okay, so pause the video whilst you note that down. Excelente, muy bien. Okay, so this is where it will start to make a little bit more sense. Plural adjectives. So we need to agree in number and gender with the noun. So you can see in the example here of the table, for nouns that end in a vowel, we need to add an S, not only to the noun, but we also need to add an S on to the colour adjective. So in a singular format, un conejo blanco, a white rabbit, remains like that. If we're talking about two, so plural, dos conejos blancos. So that was my point. We don't change the colour adjective in English. If it's white, it's white. It doesn't matter if it's one or more, but in Spanish, you do need to make that plural. Hopefully that's clear. It's quite difficult explaining this digitally. And for any nouns that end in a consonant, so for example, un ratón azul, a blue rat, in the plural, a blue mouse, in the plural, it becomes dos ratones azules. So it's like saying two blues mice, which we would struggle with in English. That's not really something that we would do, but this is how they do it in Spanish. So the main thing to remember is the adjective must agree in number and gender with the noun. So if you pause this video to make a really good note of that, and then it will become much more obvious when we do some examples. Muy bien, continuamos. So let's do some practice. I would like you to translate the sentences and write the English and the Spanish into your books. So we've got some sentences here of varying difficulty. It starts off a little bit greener with the green sentences, and then we go to orange and then finally red, which are rather challenging sentences to write in Spanish. Okay, so have a go at that and also look at the extension as well. So pause this video whilst you do that. Muy bien. Let's look at the answers and how you got on. So the first one, I have a yellow bird. Tengo un pájaro amarillo. So we can see the color there matches with the gender of the noun. And it's also singular. I have two white cats. Tengo dos gatos blancos. So we need to agree here, not only the color with the noun, with the gender of the noun, but we need to, because it's plural, we've got an S on gatos and we've got an S on blancos. So I have a small rabbit. Tengo un conejo pequeño. I have 5 guinea pigs. Tengo 5 cobayos feos. So I've got 5, so with the cobayos is more than one, there's 5, so it has to have an S on the end, and feos also has to have an S on the end. Okay, so these next ones are that much trickier. I have 8 beautiful black rabbits. Tengo 8 conejos bonitos y negros. So we've got to agree lots in this one. We need to agree the bonitos, the beautiful, and the black. It's all plural, so we need S's on both of those. And the last one, trickiest one of all, I have 70 small green fish. Tengo 70 peces pequeños y verdes. Okay, so obviously there's more than one fish, so fish changes, it's irregular, it's peces. Pequeños, we need to add an S on the end, and the verdes, we need to add an S on the end as well. So that is tricky stuff indeed. Hopefully you followed that. Don't worry if you've not got all of those right, because it was Very challenging indeed. And how would you change the I have to we have? Well, that's the verb tener. So I have, tengo, and the we form of tener is tenemos. So that's your answer to the challenge question. Right, let's look at extending yourself. So shortly we'll be writing a paragraph about our own pets, but you might have plans to get a pet in the future. So to say what pets you might have in the future, you need to use the following construction. Voy a tener, which means I'm going to have. Now be careful with this. It's voy, not voy a tener. It's because our V's are pronounced as B's. So imagine you wanted to say, I'm going to have a big horse. Voy a tener un caballo grande. I'm going to have a big horse. Or if it was two horses, how do you think you might say that? Hopefully you got that. Voy a tener dos caballos grandes. Make everything plural. Okay. So, vamos a escribir. Let's do our paragraph. I would like you to write a sentence saying what pets you have at home and describe them. If you don't have a pet at home, that's absolutely fine. You could just make it up. Say you've got a cat and a dog, or a cat and a fish, or a hamster and a budgie. That's fine. So that's the first part. Then I would like you to imagine that you win the lottery. You are rich and you are going to buy hundreds of pets. Write the longest sentence that you can describing them. And I've given you an example here. So, en mi casa tengo dos perros blancos y dos tortugas verdes. Pero, but, voy a tener, I'm going to have, and then I've given you some ridiculous things. So I've got 30 caballos grandes y bonitos, which are 30 big and beautiful horses, 52 conejos grises, 52 grey rabbits, 67 pájaros feos y azules. So that is 67 ugly blue birds. Okay, so don't copy my example. That's just to give you some guidance on what you need to be doing. So that's probably going to take you a good 7 or 8 minutes. So pause this video and do that to the best of your ability. Muy bien, excelente. Hopefully you've done something really good for that. I haven't given you a word count for that because some of you will really want to extend yourself and make up some wild and crazy things. So finally, I would like you to write down what you have learned today. I would also like you to set yourself a target for improvement and be really specific. Please don't say just work harder, try more. Be really specific. If you've not quite understood the agreement of adjectives, make that a target. If you understand that, but perhaps you can't remember all of your colours, write that down. If you can't remember articles, the difference between a definite or an indefinite article, write down a target to really learn and understand the difference. Finally, please take a photo of your work and upload it to Google Classroom for your teacher to review. Okay, so well done everyone. There is some complicated and complex work in that, so you've done really, really well to work through that. Bien hecho, and I will see you next week. Hasta la semana que viene. Adiós.